So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first pre-hackathon event. Today, we'll be going over our mentor overview for the HackHPC at ADMI22. So we're really excited about this. We want to welcome everyone that's here, all of our mentors and staff, our veterans, as well as our newcomers. Welcome. So let me find my mouse. There we go. Let's push forward here. So, well, I got a little click happy. One more. There we go. So a couple introductions today. So I am most fortunate and very grateful to have a good friend of mine that'll be here assisting. He is a veteran mentor. He is the keynote speaker at ADMI this year, or one of the keynote speakers, Mr. Charlie Day. Now, the way we like to start out these events is we always like to have a little mini icebreaker. And the way we want to do that is we like to talk about our spirit cartoon character. And so, Charlie, why don't you introduce us to yours first?
All right, so my, I guess you could say, cartoon character is Tony Stark. Not the narcissistic, all about him, Tony Stark, but the mentor, all about his team, trying to be clever and figuring things out and making sure everybody wins at the end. That's me.
And as you get to know Charlie,
I should say that's what I strive for.
And I'll say that as you get to know Charlie, you will 100% agree that that's who he is. And for me, my spirit creature is, well, Jake the dog from it's a cartoon called Adventure Time. And what Jake the dog does is he has this ability to change and morph and adjust into anything he needs to be in order to support his friends. And so hopefully I'll be the same for you all as we go through this.
And as you all know, Jamie, that's exactly what he does.
I try.
Changes, configures, reinvents himself, and always there 100%. I want to mention before we move any further that check out LinkedIn and check out TAC's LinkedIn site, because our very own Jamie was featured on TAC's page today or yesterday. So congrats, Jamie. TAC is not TAC without you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And for Dr. Hayden, both you and Elizabeth City State's, of course, been mentioning that because yeah, mama number 2. Having said that, yeah, I'm going to ask one person. I'm going to put one person on the spot here just to see their spirit creature. So the one I'm going to ask is John, because John knows how this works. So John, Holly from Exceed, what would you say your spirit creature is?
Ooh, man. Excuse me, I was eating. I'd say probably a phoenix.
Now, Phoenix from X-Men or just a Phoenix in general?
Phoenix from X-Men.
Oh,
I did not see that coming.
I did not expect that at all.
But then again, that is why he would be Phoenix from X-Men.
Yes. Excellent. All right, so moving on a little bit. The first thing I did want to give you all a little bit of information on, and I'm actually going to go forward and then go back and then go forward again, because as always, with all live demos, you realize there's something you should have changed in the beginning. And in this case, somehow my slide switched. But not a problem. But today's agenda, we're going to go over some of the hackathon objectives and student outcomes. We're going to let you know who the students are. We're going to give you an idea of some of the sample project timelines, because if you've never participated within a hackathon, it can be interesting. The deliverables and resources that are available to you. So the deliverables being what your teams are expected to put out, and then some mentoring expectations. And then one of my absolute favorite things to do, we're going to do a little mentor mini hack. All right. So pushing forward, and welcome Dr. Humphreys. It's good to see you as well. So some of the, how did my slide, Charlie, I'm going to blame you for this because apparently all of my slides are mixed up somehow.
I did not do this.
I'm gonna blame Charlie because I can't. Who knows what happened? But The objectives of the Hack HPC or any of the hackathons that we put on are that the hackathons aim to harness the resources, skills, and knowledge found in the HPC community. A better way to say this is what we do is we take the resources, skills, and abilities of those that are in the high performance computing field. We put them alongside students and faculty members just like you, and bring them together to target problems so that they can build the skill sets using those resources and to build that knowledge. Some of the student outcomes, of course, they'll have an increase in familiarity with HPC technologies. They'll get to work collaboratively, including presentations and whatnot, which of course develop their professional soft skills as well with communication and whatnot. And alongside that, work with collaborative software engineering, which for those of us that have done that, we know that is a skill and it takes some time to learn. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. Now, some of the student deliverables that are the things that are going to be expected of the students themselves. Towards the end of the hackathon, so on our presentation day, we're going to expect each team to have a GitHub repository. And on that GitHub repository, it needs to have the source code, of course, a PDF of the presentation that includes pictures and names of all the team members, how they use the HPC technology. They need to create a readme.md, so a readme.markdown file with a project description. And that link to the repository, we need to receive that prior to the beginning of the final presentations. For you mentors, I want you to be aware that if we do not have that link, the judges at the end of the competition, when I introduce the team, the first thing I will say is, judges, please deduct an automatic 20 points from this team because they have not turned in their final project. So you want to make sure they get that in. But having said that, we do provide you with other resources, including Google Cloud provided credits. They're one of our sponsors. Cloudy Cluster. Some of the more commonly used languages include Python, generally used with Jupyter notebooks or Google Colab, Node.js, Replit, which is an amazing collaborative environment. For those of you that teach computer science, if you have not taken a look at Replit, I highly suggest you do. Of course, HTML. One of the other most powerful resources that you 100% want to make sure you are a part of, as well as your team members, is Discord. The reason it is so essential is because that's our primary method of communication with our students and our teams. You're going to see me continue to push that. You're going to see during the event, I'm going to say, I put this out on Discord. I need to hear from you on Discord. I sent you that on Discord. The reason we do that is to ensure that because we're in a virtual environment, there is a single space that everyone can actually utilize. Now, having said that, you're going to want to know what the timeline is like. And so generally speaking, now there's several veteran mentors that are here: Charlie, Hector, Dr. Caldwell, and Cole, as well as John. And Dr. Hayden as well has seen how this works as well. And Dr. Jackson, I'm sorry, I almost missed you there. Generally speaking, the hardest part is picking a project and deciding on those major and minor milestones. The logistical issues, a lot of times the students don't get initially, but that's that initial difficult component. But once they have that focus, then you're able to deliver a project proposal. In other words, what are we going to do? And maybe a couple mini goals that they have along with that. We're going to have regular check-ins, 2 of them daily, to ensure the teams keep moving. And during those check-ins, we actually have little miniature competitions to ensure the teams stay on track. And then with our final presentations, of course, we ensure that there are things that the teams have to output in order to show what they've actually done. Now, the metrics for selecting the winner, we're going to look at the project impact, viability, usefulness, creativity, and the list goes on there. These things we will also go over with the students themselves. We ensure that they have access to this information so they know exactly what's expected of them. But having said that, Charlie, did you want to add anything to this as far as in the way a project is actually developed?
So the only thing I really want to add is communication is extremely important. Communication between the mentor, communication between the team, to make sure everybody's on the same page as they move forward on their goals. I will want to say goals will change, and we're going to talk probably more about this here in just a bit. The goals are going to change. Your aim is going to be off a little bit. You're going to have to move, and you're going to have to improvise. But that's why we enjoy doing these hackathons. It keeps us on our toes. So yeah, got to stay on your toes.
Yes, many of you all are, or actually all of you all except maybe one or two are actually faculty members. So students often start out with the goals of, I want to save the world. And by the end, they may end up with a project that is a web page that has a map of different locations where you can find access to whatever thing it is. The dramatic mental shift from save the world to we made a web page can be painful for some students. It can be difficult. They can feel like a failure. And it's our job to ensure that, no, you aren't a failure. You had a project. We adjusted it as we needed to, and you have an output. And so one of the most powerful things that you're going to hear me say over and over again, we're cheerleaders. Our students are going to hit roadblocks, stop signs, and things like that. Our job is to have them acknowledge it and then figure out ways to get around it or different paths they can go, and to cheer them on all along the way. And with you all being faculty members, we're used to doing this. This is what we do every day. So now, having said that, you may want to have an idea of what type of students you're going to have. Now, this was actually taken out yesterday. Now, I have to say this out loud to ensure that everyone knows. The majority of you all and the majority of the students have signed up for ADMI, but they haven't signed up for the hackathon. And so we're actually going to be releasing an email later today that is going to address everyone in the that's going to be a part of the hackathon that we have registered at ADMI, to ensure they go in and actually fill out the hackathon form so that we have the appropriate information. So having said that, the registrations with our form as of yesterday, we're sitting at 32. We have about 18 student participants. We know we have more than that. About 7 mentors and staff. We know we have more than that. And these are the mentors that they actually listed so far. So of course we need to make sure that is addressed. We have several schools, as you can see, so 9 different schools. So that means we're going to have about 8 different, well, according to this, about 5 teams, 5 to 6 teams, because we're going to have to combine some. We want to make sure that things are fair. By far, the major majority of the students are going to be computer science. Currently, we have a greater amount of females than we do males. And the more important section is actually over here to the right. And if you look at strongly agree, so this is experience in specific programming languages, strongly agree, by far the major, the most students have some type of experience within Java and JavaScript, a little bit in Python, and actually minimal amount of HTML, which is actually interesting. Usually these two go together. So that is, and somewhat agree is of course there as well. So that's something you may want to keep in mind for those of us that are actually creating projects. We want to make sure that our scopes, we understand the levels of our students.
And one more thing to consider though, is that this is a training event. So we want the students to be pushed to their limits, so they have to learn something new. We want students to, I hate to say, we want our students to feel a little uncomfortable that, oh no, how am I going to do this? Oh no, how am I going to get through this? We don't want it to be, a cakewalk. We want this to be challenging. And to make things challenging, you push them to your limits. Well, so this graph tells us what their current comfort levels are. So take it one step beyond that to try and get them to where their limits are going to be.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So we've covered these. We've covered that. Now we're going to go into a little bit more mentoring information. So you as mentors have things that you have to deliver as well, particularly one thing, one very, very special thing to your teams. Well, more than that, but I'll say that in a second. What we need during the kickoff meeting. So the kickoff meeting is going to occur on March 31st. That's not next Thursday, but the following Thursday. The mentors need to have an elevator pitch. Now I know what you're saying. I am just supposed to be in charge of my team. And for the majority of you, I think that's true, but there are a few of you here that aren't coming to this event with teams. And so what we're looking for are projects. What we mean is we want you to have basically an elevator pitch, 1 minute, where you tell the teams your idea. And the idea can be whatever. Now, the interesting part of this is that's where this idea of the draft comes in. We're instituting something brand new in this hackathon that we have never done as a team before. We're having the teams come in as schools for the vast majority of them. Those schools are coming in with mentors already from their school, and they're going to work directly with their team. But the co-mentor or the subject matter expert mentor is going to present an idea. Now, just for me, I know that Cole is one of those mentors where he is coming in with an idea.
Yep.
So, Cole, could you kind of say something about your experience in giving the elevator pitch for your idea, for one of your ideas?
So full disclosure, I actually don't have an idea yet. Honestly, for the last hackathon, I didn't come up with the idea till like the day before, and it ended up working really well. So you don't need to stress too much about it. The advice I would give for thinking of an idea, the number one thing is make sure that there's good input data. There's in all data science and high performance computing, there's a saying, good data in, good data out, or something along that line. And just make sure that you have a good data set. As long as you have a good data set for the students to work with, that's pretty easy to pull. And have all of that kind of thought out beforehand, your project is going to go really well. Even if they don't, even if they don't figure out some awesome finding that changes the world, or creates something that's, totally groundbreaking, just the fact of them being able to quickly access their data through either an API or a data transfer tool that you already kind of have in mind. It's really, really important for that. So the way I go about it is I think of kind of a general problem. So this is ADMI, and I'm not totally sure, I guess, what the kind of general thing is. Like, for example, HPC in the city is usually for helping the residents in the city that the hackathon is held in. Maybe I know that ADMI is kind of like minority facing, so maybe something that would help out people from, I guess, underprivileged communities and what is it, fringe, minority communities. Maybe that would be a good project direction to take. And then after that, I start looking for data sets that are kind of about that, and it does and something that you care about, for example, something that's kind of been bouncing around in my head for this one has been public health, and how nutrition is kind of negatively affected in certain minority communities. And maybe I'll start looking for data sets on that. And once you find a data set, then you can think of, okay, how do I access it? If it's in object storage, is it going to be using like an AWS like S3 client or a GS, like a Google like GS util to pull from Google buckets. So kind of already have that in mind. And then you can think of, okay, what could the students possibly do with this data? How are they going to kind of find something cool about it, or kind of provide a service? And that's going to change a lot once you actually find your team. There's been some teams I've had where I basically did not have to do anything and I could actually help other teams, which was really nice. Like the last hackathon, I had probably one of the best teams I've ever had in terms of just technical abilities. And they kind of were just on autopilot. I kind of gave them my idea and they ended up figuring out a lot of coming up with their own ideas. And they did really, really well. On the other hand, I've also had teams that had no programming experience whatsoever, basically, and it's like you kind of have to walk them through everything. So having a good data set is really important, but don't have the actual, have a loose idea of what you want to do with that data, but don't give the students something that they're not going to be able to do in the amount of time. And that's something that you're not going to know until you have your team in front of you. And that's just something you kind of have to infer. I mean, don't say, hey, how good are you at this? Because then they're going to get, that's going to make them maybe like feel bad if they don't have a lot of experience or something. But just kind of infer what their kind of technical abilities are from the team, and then go from there saying, okay, so what do you guys want to do with this data, or what kind of stuff can we do with this? So I guess be flexible, but also have a kind of a loose plan in mind, and I guess be cognizant of the technical abilities and don't push them too hard. And yeah, it'll go really, really well. And yeah, just be there and the other thing is science is all about communication, and so definitely make sure that your team facilitates communication with other mentors and other teams that might have good expertise. Like if you see another team, I mean, Jamie's going to mention this multiple times during the actual hackathon, but if you ever like if you can see a team that's doing something similar, reach out to them, reach out to their mentor or the team members, or have your team reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed that you got this working. Can you like give us some advice on how you did this? And that goes a long way in kind of fostering a good community versus like a bunch of independent teams like trying to like beat each other, because it's not like, it's obviously not like a competition in the sense that you're trying to like go ahead of the other teams. It's really all about, everyone kind of learning and creating something cool. So I guess, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but that's kind of my spiel on all of this.
That's exactly it. And thank you, Cole. So, and he's 100% correct. That's something you are going to hear me say a lot, that we're a family, even though this is a competition. It is. The fact is that we're building a community. And so if Dr. Caldwell's team figures out some type of amazing new way to process her data during the check-in, I might ask, hey, Dr. Caldwell, would you all mind if we got a group together so that because this other team is working on something really similar and they're kind of getting stuck, to see if we can put it together. So that is something that is very natural and very normal within the hackathon community. So just be aware that can happen. Also, there is one more thing that is your gift to the students. Your gift to the students is on Monday. We have a prize that we call our Viewer's Choice Award. And during the Viewer's Choice Award, people actually vote for their favorite team. Well, the catch is we have to open voting before the teams present for obvious reasons. And so the way that we combat that is we have trailers that the mentors create, and we'll release them on Monday, on the Monday of the event, so on 4/4, prior to the presentations. And what we found is that it becomes almost a gift back to your teams. They love it. They absolutely love it. And so right now, I'm going to show one quick one. So you want to keep these quick. I suggest under a minute. This one is actually, I think, about 40 seconds. But just to give you an idea of one of the ones, and you may see some familiar faces here, I'll show this one from HPC in the City. Now, as you notice, that trailer didn't have a lot of things there about what they actually did. It was quite literally the team name, the team mentors. They had some video in there from St. Louis because their project was about St. Louis. And if you were part of the group, you'd know that during HPC in the City, 80s music kind of became a thing. So, so for us, it was amazing. We laughed, we enjoyed it. It was a good thing. So just putting that out there. It can be as complicated or as simple as you want. But yeah. But having said that, I do want to say one more thing about post what Cole said about doing your elevator pitch. Generally, the way we do it before is you would do your elevator pitch. We'd have breakout rooms with the different elevator pitches on it, and then you'd vote with your feet. That's not how it's going to work this year. Because the teams are already formed, the teams need to pick which group they want to go with, which that means that only one team can pick a topic because only one team could have that particular specialist. So the way we've decided to deal with that, to combat that issue, is we are having a draft. So what will happen is after all of the mentors, all the specialists give their information, give their elevator pitch, you all and your teams will be taking notes for yourselves to say which one you want and set the priorities of which of those you would like. And at that point, we hand the mic over to John Harley, wherein he will actually run a draft simulation. Now, I'm not going to let him show it and things. Let's just say it's going to be fun. There's going to be music that goes with it. The letters to actually go out, and you'll see that here shortly, are actually themed around the draft so that people are already thinking about it. It's going to be an amazing process. All right, moving on. Oop, not that way. Keep going. There we go. So what can you expect as a mentor? Your mentoring would be iterative. So you've heard us talking about want to save the world versus webpage. The way they got there is it iteratively changes as you go through. Your scope will adjust. As Cole
said, exactly. As Cole said, you have to be flexible. You can't. All of us have been do research on the side. All of us have a research project that we've, has our blood, sweat, and tears literally soaked into the paper, right? We can't do that as a mentor of a project. As a mentor of a project, we come up, as Cole said, we come up with the idea, and then we are handing it over to the students to then take that idea and make something of it. As Jamie said, they can make anything out of it. We can give them a pretty little baby all packaged up and all swaddled and little pacifier and everything. And we hand that little baby to them and they turn it into a dump truck, as Jamie loves to say. That is going to happen. And because of that, you cannot become too attached to your project. Your students are going to have to take that project and go somewhere with it. Now the iterative part comes in because now the mentor is going to come in every now and again and just kind of nudge them in certain directions. We're experienced. We've gone down rabbit holes that we should not have gone down. We want to make sure our students don't do that because that really, really hurts morale. But at the same time, we don't want to be so stiff that we're not letting them think on their own and figuring out where the project should go or where they believe their abilities lay, and then therefore take the project in that direction. So we want to encourage that and iteratively kind of nudge them every now and again to make sure that they're staying as a group and that they are hitting their project goals that they've laid out,
Yes.
which of course can shift.
Hey, Charlie, you sent your kid to college to be a lawyer. Next thing you know, they came home after the first semester and told you they want to go to med school.
Mhm.
Or become an artist.
That's what happens to your project.
Yeah.
Yes. But the important thing is you need to be okay with that. One of the things, and I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit and tell you why the one concern I have, because you all know these students, they're a part of your universities. I want to make sure there isn't the tendency to look at this as a class project, that they have to get to the end point that you defined or they fail. That's not what's going on here. The purpose of this hackathon is for them to gain experience in these different technologies. They're going to have an output. They're going to have these deliverables, but what you may think is their destination on the end of that road may not even be the road that they're on by the time we get to Monday. And you need to be okay with that and let them know that you're okay with that. All right. So some of the things that you're going to have to solve. Sometimes we have an imbalance in participation. As you saw from the graphs of the teams that we have so far, there's some that have 4 members, there's some that have 3, there's some that have 2, and that may, hopefully we're going to balance that out as much as possible, but there still may be that, but that's actually not the balance we're talking about. The balance we're talking about are group dynamics. You may have a student that is a go-getter, I've got this, I'm a leader, I'm going to take care of everything, and then you may have the other student that is quiet, sit back, just tell me what to do. And if you don't say their name, they are not going to involve themselves. We've seen them. As a mentor, you're going to need to be able to make sure that they're interacting together and that they're working as a team. That's another reason why we keep these teams small. We keep these teams small to ensure that that those group dynamics can kick in so everyone feels like they have a place on their team. And as you as a mentor, of course, want to help keep that going, and we'll be pushing that from the organizational side as well. If the direction isn't right, if you see them about to jump off a cliff,
Stop them.
stop them.
Or here's the other thing, or you build them a bridge across that cliff. You
Yes.
can, as a mentor, step in and help every now and again. What you're trying to stay away from is the mentor doing all the work. And these are challenges that we see in the classroom all the time. There's an imbalance in participation. You always have that one student who's raising their hand, nobody else is. You know, one time Jamie and I taught online, we created the Wheel of Fate, which we had this giant Wheel of Fortune like wheel. And we put all the students' names on it, and we just turned the wheel and asked for a student to answer. Even if they didn't know the answer, that's okay.
Mhm.
And that is also okay. We have to be able to let students know that I don't know is a perfectly valid answer.
Mhm.
But they have to be able to voice that they don't know. Imbalance in participation. When we talk project direction isn't viable, we're not talking project direction of your elevator pitch. We're talking the project direction that the students then took and decided, hey, I'm going to convert this baby into a dump truck. Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, you know, I'm going to put the baby. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't quite do it that way. You got to have these logical progressive steps. Or they're going to be looking at they're going to Google and they're going to find something on Stack Overflow and they said, this is it. This is the answer. Well, all of us have dealt with Stack Overflow in the classroom all the time, and that's not always the answer. So sometimes the project direction the students pick isn't a viable one. And those are challenges that a mentor is going to got to figure out that, hey, what you're doing isn't viable. And then figuring out how do you reel them back in without hurting that next to last one, morale decreases over time. How do you reel them back in and not squash their morale? We want students to be creative. And when a student comes up with a good creative solution, they get that natural high. And we want them to ride that natural high throughout the project. So that's another challenge we're going to going to hit.
And also because the students know you, they know, because they're your faculty, you have probably picked some of your best and brightest to be a part of your team. And yet they're going to be reluctant to take ownership of the project. They're going to look to you. You're going to have to make that shift over to allow them to own the baby. It's going to be difficult, but you need to make that shift. Now, you could also have the opposite problem. With you, some of you picking your best and brightest, that means your best and brightest are going to be competing against each other to take control. And that's a whole other set of issues that you're going to have to deal with in order to get them to settle down and to work cooperatively. Charlie has actually been through that. Well, I mean, he had a team of all-stars, and I felt for him the entire time.
It reminds me of like the Olympics when they first introduced the dream teams. And what was it? The last US NBA dream team that went to the Olympics got bronze or something. Anyways, point being is your students, especially in this scenario where you have your own students come with you, your students are going to be competing against each other. Like Jamie said, they're competing against each other for your approval is what they're competing for. So you gotta spread the love.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing I do want to make sure is we've said this in various ways, but I do want to make sure you know, if we set forth a challenge to put tasks down and goals of who does what, or to introduce the team or something like that, and you, the mentor, are doing it, something's wrong. We really, don't get me wrong, we as mentors, we're going to, as organizers, we're going to pull the mentors together during the event to have some meetings to make sure that everything is taken care of and that any assistance or resources we can give you, we can. But it's the students we want to hear from. It's the students we want to push forward. You're going to hear me say, I want someone that hasn't presented before to present, because we want to give everyone their opportunity to talk, speak, and become comfortable with speaking in front of the group. So just keep that in mind. Morale may decrease over time. We're going to have some events and things to kind of help with that. And with students not communicating, that's why we have Discord. And again, these check-ins, it's a way for us to ensure that the teams are staying together, that the students aren't checking out.
Also important, try and get some one-on-one time with each member of your team throughout the day. Do a group check-in. I did group check-ins all the time. Those are fantastic. But then I would also ping a student randomly just to see how things are going. If they're having any issues, what issues they're having, how can I help with those issues? And unfortunately, students are each one of those could easily say students are reluctant, and then put whatever you want. They're reluctant to open up to you. So even A, you know, they're trying to get your approval. B, they're trying to prove that they can do it. And C, they don't understand, especially not especially undergraduates, all students and everybody, they don't understand the limits of their abilities. All right. So take those three things in combination, and it can go great or it can go very poorly. So you have to be there, as Jamie said, we have to be there as cheerleaders to make sure that they, you know, benefit the most from everything. The other one that we'd like to stop at, students just want the answers. And how many times have we, you know, in class asked a question and students don't really want to answer the question. They just want us to tell them what the answer to the question is. We can't do that because we're trying to we're trying to get them to learn. So we want to point them in the right direction to find the answers themselves, instead of just giving it to them on a platter and saying, this is what you need to do. No, this is what you want to do, and this is how you can do it. I suggest looking here, here, and here, and seeing if you can figure it out. Or, hey, here's some sample code I showed, I came up with. Why don't you look through that and see if you can figure out how this works, and drive the process that way. There are, there's not just one solution to each one of these problems. There are multiple solutions. You just have to figure out what works best for your team and move forward from that.
Now, I want to tell those of you that have joined this meeting, because I know what I am like when I am on one of these sessions. We've been talking for a while. I want to warn you right now, for all of you that are sitting there eating your lunch, for those of you that have kind of checked out, you're checking your email and stuff, you're about to have a task. We're about to grab your attention and you're about to have to talk to people for 7 minutes. All right?
7-minute hack.
For 7 minutes. So be prepared. We're going to give you some quick information and then we're going to do the 7 minutes hack. So just for a couple more fundamental principles, we're going to put these slides out on our website. So you'll be able to take a look at them later, but just to make sure, you want to observe the students, not the work. What we mean by that is if you see a student getting stuck and they're being, you see their morale decreasing and you want to ask them questions, keep them engaged, find out what's going on and see if we can assist them as much as possible. You want to be present, but not omnipresent. What we mean by that is, you can direct it, you can ask questions. The way I like to mentor is I like to ask questions. I like to have the student tell me how they're feeling. I like the student to tell me what their thoughts are, take me down your logic train, tell me the story of your code. The point is to get them talking. And we can direct them in a certain direction, but they need to go down that path, not us. We're making sure that from a morale standpoint and from a directional standpoint, they're okay, that the boat is going in the right direction, but we're not pumping the pistons. That makes sense? And then you want to use critical questions, not criticisms.
You're not there to critique their work as they're going through it. If you see something that you want to critique or criticize on their work, don't do that. Back up a little bit and ask the critical question for them to be able to critique their own work. And then they could come up with their own conclusions on, oh yeah, this is not a good idea at all. But let them come to that conclusion, not tell them that.
Exactly.
There is that's the biggest morale killer.
All right. So your task today, the mentor challenge. This is something that Charlie and I have become famous for. We love it. Again, there's going to be 7 minutes that we're going to allow you to do this. What you're going to have to do is we're going to give you a challenge. There are a set of challenges. You're going to pick one of them as a group, and you're going to develop or use what type of technique you're going to develop or use to develop a problem. You need to come back with one slide. Yes, one slide to present for your team. So you need to pick someone that's going to do the presenting. Most of y'all may not have met each other before, but you're going to have 7 minutes to work together. So you're going to have to figure it out. John, no cheating this year. John helped them out so much last year.
I'm not even
fact, John, you're not allowed. You can't.
I'm not going.
All right. So here's an example technique. How do you get feedback from your students when they might be reluctant to criticize type of work or help you've given them? We can use a technique like Wish Wonder, where we get the students to actually express something they, in a positive sense, something they like, something they wonder about, and something they wish they knew more about. And then you have the supporting people around them give snaps or claps or some type of motion to let them know that they agree with what that student. It gives the student positive reinforcement. It allows them to get their words out. It also allows you to understand where the hangups are that the students are running into. So there's all these positive things that go along with it. So here we go.
Pick one of those issues. You got common issues with mentoring. The imbalance in participation, project direction isn't viable, students are reluctant to drive the process, students just want answers, morale decreases, students do not communicate. Pick one of those. That's your task.
Now I'm going to tell you who is involved in this.
Yeah.
So Cole, you don't get to be involved in this. You know how this works. John, you don't get to be involved in this. You know how this works. Now, Dr. Jackson and Dr. Caldwell, you all know how this works, but I'm gonna give you a bye. I'm gonna give you a bye because we're gonna say you all are the veterans. And Dr. Hayden, of course, you get to just witness as well. And Robert, you of course get to be a part of it. Dr. Humphreys, you get to be a part of it. Dr. Bradford, Dr. Johnson, and Dr. El Bekri. Did I say that correct? Mohammed? All right.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
There you go.
I stepped outside. I was using the bathroom. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am stopping myself. So, grab a quick screenshot of common issues when mentoring. Actually, I'll leave it up. I'll leave it up. But what I am going to do is I am going to open my stopwatch, which I'm going to use my phone for. I'm going to tell it, put 7 minutes on the clock. In 7 minutes, you're going to have a presentation that you remember to pick somebody that's going to give a 1 minute presentation with one slide to answer whatever problem you choose. Questions, concerns? All right, here we go.
Are you all dividing this up into groups?
Set timer for 7 minutes.
Now y'all get to work together.
7 minutes.
All of us
Wait a
together?
minute, question.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a question from Dr. Humphreys.
Go on. Mhm.
My
Who said
question,
if we're gonna
my
separate
first
them into
question
town
is-
or?
we select one of these
Yes.
as a group,
Yes.
and the members of the group are,
You, Robert, Rebecca Caldwell, Andrea, and Muhammad.
So
And
that's one group.
Dr. Jackson. Yes.
okay, so we need to have a discussion.
Yeah,
we
discussion.
do.
You're
Which
gonna
one?
observe us discussing this
Hey,
problem.
hey, Jamie, why don't we put them in a breakout room so they know who the group members are?
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, let's do that.
You
Okay.
only want one group, not two?
Only one group.
Okay.
All right, so I am making a breakout room. I'm going to assign manually, and I am going to start dropping you all in if it will allow me. Where are you all? Oh, so I have to open the rooms. Haha. All right, as soon as you all hit the rooms, as soon as all of you all are in the rooms, you have 7 minutes. So here you go.
I didn't see the rooms here.
Not a problem. I'm dropping you in them now.
Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am working my way through. No. Dr. Humphreys, Dr. Jackson, Barrett.
Leave them there. Those are my business cards.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm coming in this afternoon to look at something anyway. Thank you for asking though.
Set timer for 7 minutes.
There's already a 7 minutes timer.
Yes.
7 minutes. Starting
All right,
now.
John, I'm gonna drop you in there so you can observe. And Cole, I'm gonna do the same thing. Charlie and I'll stay out and wait.
Sounds good.
This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be. Hey, so it's kind of fun. So I've been teaching with Virginia, and you know how we do when we get into talking about loops. You know, you have the 99 bottles of beer on the wall slide that
Uh-huh.
you left in there. And I said, well, when that came up, I said, normally we sing this as a class. And Virginia's all, yeah, I don't do cringe teaching. I'll leave that to Jane. Like, oh, we gotta sing.
You gotta do it. Let's see if I can go in here and
Yeah, I noticed last night when you shared the slide deck with me that those were out of order, but I assumed that.
No,
Is
that
that
wasn't
on
on
purpose?
purpose.
Okay,
Like that was Google doing it. You know how every once in a while it will jump.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's what happened.
I figured you're introducing the students and then going in there somehow. But no
Mhm.
worries, man.
Let me see where screenshot. Which one is it? That one. Huh? I think I'm gonna, just in case they need them, I'm gonna hop in there and drop this in chat. I wish they had a little bit more control over this. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Where are they? Where'd they go? Breakout rooms. There we go.
Where they're gone.
I know, right?
Yep, you're muted, bud. You're muted, Jamie.
They're still at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, and they're still trying to pick a topic.
Oh, nice. All right, that's how it's supposed to go.
But I did see a screen,
Oh, good.
presentation on
Somebody's
somebody's
sharing a
screen.
screen and taking notes.
Yeah.
That's important.
That is hilarious. Del Humphreys was like, oh. Matter of fact, let me.
If we can take, all right, well, if we can take that COVID data and we can give it a simulation, see what the simulation says, and then see what the COVID data actually, the actual data represented, and if it's accurate or not. Might be kind of interesting.
Oh, you're on mute. So when you come out of the breakout rooms, you're automatically on mute. So
Could you put me back in the breakout room? I accidentally kicked myself out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, it's closing in 29 seconds though. If I can get you in there.
Andrew, you accidentally kicked yourself out too, didn't you?
Oh, Andrea, you're also muted.
Oh, actually, I can't because I closed the rooms. I can't drop you back in. I'm sorry.
The time wound down, so it kicks you out automatically.
Yeah, I'll give you. All right, that's the time.
37
I'll tell you
minutes.
what. I will give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to finish up. Look at Dr. Humphreys. All right, I promise 30 seconds. It's on the clock. You don't have anything to add?
You didn't even open the room. I opened the rooms back up. There you go.
Oh, no. I'm saying 30. You can do it right here. That way we won't have to worry about moving.
Just pretend Jamie and I aren't here. Oops, everybody's.
Okay.
Not
Everybody's-
sure it's-
Okay, that's fine.
Doesn't matter. It's gonna close again in 50 seconds, so that technically is their 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Jamie, you've made me so cold.
Woo.
Linda, I need that background.
Oh, you're on mute, Doc.
I need that scarf. My anniversary is coming up.
Yep, you're on mute, Dr. Hayden. Yep, we can't hear you, Doc. You're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't want to get pinched, so I had to put on my green today for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, here they come.
I don't have any green. I just
Two,
realized it.
Here's
One.
your
Look at that.
virtual pinch, Charlie. The green nails.
I see.
All right.
But can I get that background from you?
We'll make sure we get you one.
We're gonna
Doc.
send out backgrounds.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
So it is time for us to hear from our illustrious group of mentors for the HackHPC ADMI22 group present their results from their mentor mini hack. We're putting 1 minute on the clock. Go ahead and get that going. So whomever will be presenting, the floor is yours.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. And if you are speaking, you are currently muted.
Shoot, I was speaking.
It starts now.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Andrea Johnson from Spelman. I'm a part of Team Newbies. The topic that we selected is students are reluctant to drive the process. So we have a team of students and they do not want to own the project. So we, with mentors, should encourage students to own the project. So ask questions to kind of guide the development of subtasks. So allow the students to kind of formulate what the job should be, what things should be developed. And then the mentor can then provide a template for dividing the responsibilities up based on those subtasks. And then kind of allow the students to volunteer for roles within that.
Excellent.
That's great.
40 seconds. I feel like there should be an award for that.
That's got to be a record, honestly.
Give it to me.
And also, So
And then
Jamie
you
and I have
did a
done this
great
for
job.
maybe, you and I have done this for what, about 2, 3, 4 years now, this mentoring the mentors. This is the first time somebody picked this topic as well. So,
Oh,
Excellent.
perfect.
Interesting.
Yay. Good job.
And
team.
I do want to say, I know we're over time, so if some of you all have classes and things, of course you need to go, but I do want to wrap it up pretty quickly so we can get it up. But Charlie's exactly right. You all did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. I do want to say there are probably some things you noticed when you did that. Dr. Humphreys was the leader of the wait, what the crap is going on? Can I get more instruction? You all had to get to know each other extremely quickly, figure out who was going to share their screen. You all figured out how you were going to scope it, trying to pick the topic. If you all noticed, it took half the time for you to pick a topic. But once that topic was picked and those warnings started coming, the 4-minute warning and things like that, things started rolling. And did you notice how much more efficient you became over time? That's going to happen to your teams as well. The roles and responsibilities, the critical questions and things like that. This is what's going to happen on your hackathon team. Yeah.
everything y'all went through in 7 minutes, the hackathon team's going to do that in what, 90 some odd hours. So,
Yes. So normally I would do a like, wish, wonder now to kind of get everybody's opinion, but I want to be aware of your time, but I do want you all to be aware of this technique. It's something that hopefully we'll get to do during the hackathon itself, where we'll have time for reflection. I always feel like time for reflection to truly let things sink in are a great thing. So having said that, I want to thank everyone for coming. Let me go ahead and put this into large. I want to thank everyone for coming. Our next training session, which will include all of the participants that are of course able to come, will take place next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Well, maybe the channel is going to be different, we don't want Zoom bombing, but at least same bat time, where we'll go over GitHub and Discord. We're not going to go deep into them, but we want to make sure that the teams at least have enough information so that those 2 primary things that we're going to be utilizing will be covered. During ADMI, we of course have a few more presentations as well. And then Charlie and our information is listed here. But just so that you know, this link has been displayed the entire time. It's within your email, the HackHPC site. Of course, this is going to be updated with new information. And Dr. Johnson, if you wouldn't mind, please send me a PDF copy of that presentation, if you don't mind, please, or whomever was presenting that, presenting the actual screen. But on this page, this will be our main page. I will speak about this during every event, everything point to the page for all the information, hackhpc.github.io/admin22. And if we click on schedule, you'll see our mentor overview is completed. GitHub, Discord is up next, as well as the rest of the training sessions and the actual schedule of events during the hackathon itself. So feel free to take a look.
Good.
Beyond that, I want to thank everyone for coming.
Jamie, could everyone turn on their camera and we take a screenshot quickly?
Sure. Those of you that feel comfortable doing that.
Jamie, can I ask a question? Because I am a newbie too.
Yes.
Turn on your cameras, guys.
I have a question with regards to that project.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to stop the recording here. Let me snap a picture. So everybody look at your camera. Look at the camera. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Let's do one more. 3,
I won't
2,
start, sorry.
1.
Too sexy for your camera. Too sexy for your camera. Sexy, yeah.
1, 2.
I had to make them laugh.
It worked, John. It worked.
All right. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and thank you all again for coming.
thanks everyone.
All right.